Well, welcome back, everyone. In part one of this episode, Is It Real or a Facsimile?, we looked at the differences of early production of facsimiles in black and white reproductions, as opposed to the more modern sources, and how they can portray the original exactly as it looks, right down to the binding. We looked at manuscript facsimiles predominantly from France and England. So today we're going to jump back to the continent and explore some incredibly breathtaking facsimiles of Italian and Austrian provenance, as well as some other English sources. First up is the magnificent Squarcialupe Codex. Now say that fast 5 times. This is an extraordinary manuscript that codifies the repertoire of Italian Trecento sources. This facsimile looks exactly like its original that sits on a shelf in the Florence Cathedral, the dome of which, as you may know, has been designed by Brunelleschi. The illuminations in this resource are really quite amazing, down to the gold leaf. The miniatures contain portraits of contemporary composers from the period. There's also a lot of important marginalia here, which is really of interest to art historians and not just music scholars. A lot of works in this facsimile are by composers like Jacopo da Bologna and Francesco Landini. From Italy, we jump back to France again with another extraordinary resource. This is the Champsonier cordiforme. When this manuscript is closed, it is in the shape of a heart. When you open it, it assumes the shape of a butterfly with 2 hearts that represent the 2 lovers who write and sing songs to each other through this manuscript. The manuscript is rife with marginalia made up of animals, birds, dogs, cats, all kinds of flowers and plants, all highlighted in abundant gold leaf. Again, music repertoire here consists of the most famous French and Italian composers, Dufay, Akagem, Bounois, and their contemporaries. We now fast forward to the early 19th century with the facsimile of Beethoven's Third Symphony, the Eroica. This is a personal copy of Beethoven's score that he held in his personal library, and it contains a number of corrections that the composer made to his work. What's most extraordinary about this facsimile, not only does it look like the original, but you can see the wormholes that have been eaten through the pages. You can see the brittle edges of each of the leaves where the paper has broken off. But even more interesting, you can see the grease from the hands of people who have flipped the pages over the centuries. It's really an amazing, amazing manuscript. Lest you think that the Finney Library only holds facsimiles of classical music manuscripts, there are several examples in our collection that represent other genres. Perhaps the most interesting is the master score to Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is from the 1937 animated film produced by the Walt Disney Studios. It is the complete score, so you can follow the soundtrack from the opening scene to the end, and you can see how the music and animation had to be synchronized. So what you're seeing in this example is from the Hi-Ho, Hi-Ho episode of the film. So music also interfaces with many other art forms and genres, but especially with theater. So one of our most interesting theater facsimiles are the set and costume designs for Richard Strauss's opera Der Rosenkavalier. These sets and costumes were designed by Alfred Rohler, who was an Austrian painter, graphic designer, and set designer. And they represent the stage decor and costumes that were used in the premiere performance in 1911 at the Opera House in Dresden, Germany. I hope this 2-part episode has given you a feel for the breadth and depth of music manuscript facsimiles held by the Finney Music Library. Our next episode explores Finney around the world, focusing on our world music holdings. I look forward to seeing you then.